Welcome to the DolphinsTalk.com post-game wrap-up show. I am your host, Tom Ernest. Sitting next to me is Mike Oliva. Mike, how you doing?
I am doing fantastic, Tom. How are you?
I am great. We witnessed a very enjoyable football game for the most part. A lot of emotions, an up-and-down game by the Miami Dolphins as well as the Chicago Bears. But let's get into how this game finished up 31-28 in overtime with barely any time left on the clock. Real quick point here. First things first. Mike, what were your thoughts on the offensive line play today? Especially the way the media was hyping up the Bears defense, and rightfully so. They were number one in the league in total defense. They had the number one rush defense in the league, and the Dolphins came into this game with Brock Osweiler being named the starting quarterback as he was driving into the stadium. What were your thoughts on the offensive line play?
The offensive line play was very good. Larry Tunsil is playing at a very high level right now. He was fantastic today. Juwan James is by far his best game of the year as well. James just, he had his way with Mack for the most part. Mack was not much of a factor. And, the interior of the offensive line is the interior of the offensive line. It's not going to get much better than what we see. But Frank Gore ran for 100 yards. That says something. And, the offensive line play was very good today. And you can't complain about it all. Night and day difference from what we saw at the end of the Bengals game. So a lot of promise there. Look, it's not going to be great from now to the end of the year. But for at least today, the play was at a high level. And hopefully more weeks than not, it will continue to be at a high level.
Khalil Mack, coming into this game, obviously highly touted as one of the best defensive players in football. It didn't look like he even sniffed the backfield and get near Brock Osweiler for the way that they played. So let's get into the game and let's see how this all worked out. So the Dolphins received the opening kick, 5 plays, 23 yards. They had to punt on 3rd and 6. Brock Osweiler threw to Albert Wilson, who was wide open, and completely dropped the football. Not very Albert Wilson-like, and the Dolphins were forced to punt. The Bears went 3 and out on their opening drive, and then the Dolphins took a nice drive, 7 plays, 54 yards, which featured a lot of Frank Gore on the drive. It was capped off on a 2nd and goal with a pass to Nick O'Leary, the waiver extraordinaire himself, with a 5-yard touchdown pass from Brock Osweiler to make the game 7-0. We'll talk about Nick O'Leary a little bit, but and towards the end of the show. But, as we progress, the Bears went for it on 4th down on their next drive after a 10-play, 33-yard drive. Dolphins shut them down. What were your thoughts on the ceiling play by Rashad Jones on that 4th and 1 with Tariq Cohen getting a toss sweep?
Yeah, Miami's secondary today, Jones in particular, was, look, Rashad Jones is always outstanding, but he wrapped up. He made some nice open field tackles. Fitzpatrick as well. The Miami Dolphins secondary, one healthy, and they're almost there with McCade, who should be back next week, one of the better secondaries in the league. And at times today they were exposed, but early on in this game they were playing very well. And this play right here with the tackle here to turn the ball over on the Bears was fantastic.
And after the 4th and 1 stop, the Dolphins went 4 plays, 20 yards, and a punt. The Bears punted on an 11-play, 26-yard drive. 11 plays for 26 yards. That is the most miraculous stat I've ever seen on a drive.
You don't see that often.
You don't see it often at all. The Dolphins went 3 and out on the next drive, and then the Bears had a 2nd and goal from the Miami 2-yard line. And this is one of the key plays of the game because this really changed the momentum and swung it right back in the Dolphins' direction as the Bears were driving down the field. Jordan Howard went at the 2-yard line, went to the left guard, and Kiko Alonso put the helmet on the football and popped it out, and it was recovered by Kiko Alonso at the 1-yard line. And there was also a illegal formation on the play, of course, which was declined, and the Dolphins turned it over. Mike, Kiko Alonso has just been outstanding through 6 weeks, hasn't he?
Turnover machine. He gets a lot of turnovers. Seems like he's getting a big play at least once a week. One of the better players on that side of the ball right now for Miami. Moving him to the outside and taking him away from the middle spot It's clearly working out, and that's where he belongs.
After, as we get closer to the 2-minute warning, the Dolphins had first and 10 at the Chicago 45, working their way up the field, trying to get in field goal range to get some points on the board. And Brock Osweiler threw a deep pass to Devontae Parker, which was intercepted by Kyle Fuller, who had a fantastic game today for the Chicago Bears in that secondary. And the play was ruled down at the 4-yard line. Did you think that was an ill-advised throw by Brock Osweiler? It looked like it was a little underthrown. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, he's Brock Osweiler at the end of the day. Good, but not great. He's going to make his mistakes, but you know what? So does Ryan Tannehill. So it's tough to get on Osweiler for a mistake here or there because the guy he is replacing, whether it's because of injury or not, I mean, look, neither one of these guys are going to Canton anytime soon. Osweiler, he made a few mistakes today. This was one of them, but for the most part, he played well. But this was one of the mistakes because Miami was driving and was looking to get some points here right before the half, but the turnover hurt.
The turnover hurt quite a bit. The half ended with a 3-yard run, and the clock runs out. At halftime, the Dolphins were up 7-0. We were feeling good. You know, as a fan base, we were feeling good looking at the score, 7-0. Mitch Trubisky did absolutely nothing in the first half. Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen, nothing in the first half. But unfortunately for the Miami Dolphins, there are 2 halves of football, and the second half did not start well as the Bears on their first possession after a Mitch Trubisky read option run of 28 yards. The next play was a Minka Fitzpatrick defensive pass interference for 32 yards, and then Trubisky to Cohen for 6, and then on the very next play, Trey Burton on a shovel pass for Mitch Trubisky to tie the game at 7. Okay, it's a 7-7 game, not a big deal. Then it got a little bit worse as Brock Osweiler showed his Brock Osweiler colors and threw a near pick 6 thanks to Mike Gesicki. The Dolphins were able to save face, but it only took one play and 12 yards on a touchdown to Allen Robinson, and the Bears were flying. It was 14-7, and their fan base was rocking down in South Florida. The Dolphins did manage a field goal to make it 14-10 on a 50-yard field goal by Jason Sanders, who we'll also get into after a little bit more after we get through with the wrap-up here on how great he was today and how clutch he was for the Miami Dolphins in this game. After the Sanders field goal to make it 14-10, the Bears another 3-play, 75-yard drive, which was capped off by a Tariq Cohen 21-yard touchdown run, which it looked like there was no one there to tackle him. Rashad Jones inexplicably missed the tackle, which freed up Cohen to make the score 21-10. At this point, Mike, what were your thoughts on this game and as it was 21-10 halfway through the third quarter?
I thought the game was over. I thought Miami was dead to rights. I was thinking with Osweiler, he's coming off 2 turnovers here. I was 2 of the last 3 series he had. I thought there was no chance Miami was coming back against this defense down 21-10, and thankfully I was very wrong.
We were all very wrong as the Dolphins go 11 plays and 68 yards down the field. They kick another field goal. Jason Sanders connecting on this field goal from 25 yards as the Dolphins drive stalled out on 3rd and 4 with an incomplete pass from Brock Osweiler, which was this play had me kind of fired up because he had a guy open earlier in his looks and just looked him off and didn't throw the ball. The Bears, after the Dolphins field goal, the Bears drive down the field, and this, in my opinion, was a very big and game-changing play for the Dolphins as they were just getting routed to start the second half. In the third quarter, at the start of the third quarter, the Bears had a 1st and goal from a 3, and then after a legal pick play, finally, a pick play that goes in the favor of the Dolphins as Trey Burton threw an illegal pick 2 yards past the line of scrimmage, which you can't do unless you're the Patriots. Move the ball back 10 yards, and on the very next play at the 13, Trubisky pass was intercepted by T.J. McDonald as he threw into double coverage on that play. And on the subsequent drive, the Dolphins go 6 plays, 80 yards capped off by an Albert Wilson 43-yard touchdown and a 2-point conversion which was completed to Kenny Stills, which I still don't understand how he got the second foot down. But, Mike, what were your thoughts on the drive with Albert Wilson turning basically a bubble screen into a 43-yard touchdown?
Yeah, Albert Wilson's worth his weight in gold. He's not Jarvis Landry, but he has pretty much replaced Jarvis Landry at about a tenth of the cost. So the risk reward here is totally paid off from the Dolphins letting Landry go, because Albert Wilson has lived up and he's exceeded all expectations for the Miami Dolphins this year. I don't care what he does in the remaining however many games. Through the first, what are we now, 6 games, whatever, he has just performed like a high-level player. He is so good and so fast. You can't say enough positive things about him. And, he has another big play left in him.
He does, and the big play had to wait because the Bears, after the Dolphins tied the game at 21, the Bears go 5 minutes and 51 seconds to take a 28-21 lead on a wide-open touchdown throw from 29 yards to Anthony Miller. It looked like there was some miscommunication in the secondary between T.J. McDonald and Raekwon McMillan as McMillan was playing a middle zone, and McDonald looked like he bailed on the route, and it turned into a 29-yard touchdown to Anthony Miller to make the game 28-21. And then once again, it was, here we go, it's the same old Dolphins, giving up the lead, coming back, tying the game, making it interesting, give up a long drive. On the very next play, after the touchback, it was a 75-yard touchdown to Albert Wilson on a very nice play call by Gase. He got Albert Wilson the football on a quick slant, and he just turned it into a long run after the catch. Tied the game at 28. Now it gets fun. The Bears, 3 plays, 23 yards. At their 32-yard line, Tariq Cohen catches a ball. Guess who? Kiko Alonso. Kiko comes in, forces the fumble. Xavier Howard recovered at the Chicago 45-yard line, giving the Dolphins an opportunity to close the game in regulation. However, they went 3-and-out, and the game went to overtime. On the opening possession, the Dolphins won the toss. Let's go through this play by play, and kind of setting up what happened here. Brock Osweiler to Albert Wilson for only 1 yard. Danny Amendola was flagged for a penalty, so it was 1st and 20. Frank Gore gets 9 of that back. And then on 3rd and 11, Osweiler hits Kenny Stills for 35 yards. Now, he didn't hit Kenny Stills. He hit a helmet, I believe, of Jakeem Grant, which ricocheted off the top of his helmet into the waiting arms of Kenny Stills, who was standing right behind Grant on the route. And it turned into a very fortunate play for the Dolphins. Kenyon Drake goes for 2. Frank Gore goes for 32 to the 7-yard line. So we are 1st and goal. The Bears 7. Gore goes for 5 on 1st down, gets another yard on 2nd down. Dolphins call timeout. 3rd down, the play call is at the half-yard line.
Another 3rd and 1.
It's a 3rd and 1. Essentially, it's a 3rd and a fingernail to the end zone for the Dolphins. Adam Gase calls a shotgun play for Brock Osweiler to hand the ball off to Drake, who was ripped. The football ripped from his hands, and the Bears recovered for a touchback. And this is the same song and dance with the Bengals. Adam Gase sometimes just cannot get out of his own way. You have a 6'7" quarterback playing in this game today. Why on earth are you not lining him up under center to do a quick jump over the line of scrimmage and stretch the ball over for a touchdown? The game's over. And on that play, there was no one lined up over the center. It was wide open for him just to fall right into the end zone. Mike, what are your thoughts on that play and the fumble?
That's a terrible play call. It's a terrible play call at the end of the night. Like Tom said, you got a 6'7" quarterback. Frank Gore came out of the game. It seemed like he was maybe a little bit tired. He might have gotten nicked up. But, that's fine. I understand you had to come out. That's not an excuse, though, for Drake to fumble the ball. I'm not so sure that was ripped out of his hands, but he did fumble. But he's got to know what's going on. You got 3rd and goal at the 1. It's overtime. There's not a lot of time left, really. Worst case, I consider that 4-down territory where you go for it twice. Who knows if they got stuffed, if they would have went for it on 4th down or kicked the field goal. No idea what Adam Gase would have done. but you can't fumble there, and Drake has to protect the ball better. He has to protect the ball better. Interesting play call. Didn't like it, but at the end of the day, Drake can't fumble that, and that's what he did.
So after the fumble, the Chicago Bears drive right down the field, get it to the Miami 35-yard line, which looks like they kind of gave up as they ran the ball for no gain on 3rd and 4 to bring up 4th and 4. And on that next play, it was Cody Parkey, the Jupiter juggernaut, as Jason Leeser liked to say, missed the field goal wide right, and the Dolphins take over. And it didn't take long for the Dolphins. 1:55 was the drive, which actually brought us to the very last second of overtime. A 47-yard field goal by Jason Sanders ends the game. The Dolphins come back and beat the Chicago Bears 31-28 in a thrilling game at Hard Rock Stadium. And Mike and I had the pleasure to be there to cover the game and enjoy that experience. Let's dive into, real quick, let's just dive into the team stats. There's a couple quick team stats that really we want to look at. The Dolphins today, 3rd down efficiency. One of the worst in the NFL today was 8 for 17. They ran 75 total plays. Average play was 7.2. 541 yards of total offense. 380 of that in the air and 161 of that on the ground. And they were penalized 7 times for 67 yards. Each team had 3 turnovers. Time of possession was pretty even. The Bears had 467 yards of offense, 7.3 yards per play on 64 plays. And they ran the ball for 164 yards. It was a very, very close game overall, but the Dolphins found a way to get it done. Mike, what were your thoughts on the offense run with Brock Osweiler at the helm?
Yeah, and this will probably just lead into a larger conversation about Brock. To me, there's no quarterback controversy. Brock Osweiler starts next week against the Lions. I don't care if Ryan Tannehill's 100%. Brock Osweiler, out of the 6 games the Miami Dolphins have played so far, we look at the quarterback performance in each one of those 6 games. The best performance was today from Osweiler. Now, look, I know he's Brock Osweiler, but you know what? Ryan Tannehill ain't all that special either these days. So Osweiler against, the number 1 defense in the NFL, no Josh Sitton in front of him, no Kilgore in front of him, put on a performance. Look, he made his mistakes, but once again, Ryan Tannehill makes his mistakes too. It's not like he's replacing somebody perfect here. And Brock Osweiler is the starter from this point moving forward until otherwise, until he has, a game where he throws 4 picks or something. To me, it's not even up for debate. He's your quarterback right now until there's a reason for him not to be your quarterback. And Tannehill's injury, who knows how serious it is. From the stuff we heard today at the stadium, behind the scenes, it doesn't sound like it's very serious at all. And, the plan was he was probably going to play up until, Friday. So it seems like it's really minor. But, again, I don't care how healthy he is next week. Brock Osweiler is your quarterback because the performance he put on today against a very good defense, a very good Chicago Bears defense, goes to show you, he came over the fact he has a crappy center and 2 crappy guards. He came over, he just, rise to the moment and played well. He made his mistakes, we get it. But Osweiler was very good today and the best quarterback performance for the Dolphins this year. And there's no reason right now to take him out of the lineup until he gives you a reason not to.
It is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers approach to what Mike just said.
Absolutely.
It is the Buccaneers approach with Ryan Fitzpatrick until otherwise you give the ball to the hot hand. I don't see that happening because our coach is Adam Gase, and he's stuck in his ways. Ryan Tannehill is the quarterback of this football team. Adam Gase will ride Tannehill. It seemed like Tannehill was going to give it a go today, but the team decided to keep him out of harm's way of this pass rush, and honestly, it was neutralized. This pass rush was not even a factor for the Chicago Bears in this game. Even if Brock Osweiler did have a couple mistakes, it wasn't due to a pass rush. It was just mental.
And here's something else you have to remember. Next week, the Dolphins are at home again against the Lions. If he starts Tannehill, and Tannehill comes out of the gate slow, say after the first quarter they're down 7-0, or he's going 3-and-out, 3-and-out, maybe pick up a first down, 3-and-out, that type of thing. The fans within like 5 minutes of this game are going to turn on Tannehill so fast they're going to be all the chants. We want Brock. We want Brock. It's Adam Gase just needs to ride the hot hand until Brock Osweiler pretty much fails, because again, it's not like Ryan Tannehill here is Roger Staubach. He's not. He can be replaced, and this is a time and a moment in this year. We're only 6 games in early in the year, where it's okay to sit Ryan here a few weeks if that's what it must be. Maybe longer, all depending on how Osweiler plays. The one thing I wouldn't do, because if you're Adam Gase, you don't want a quarterback controversy on your hands. He makes one next week if he starts Ryan Tannehill, because the first few times Tannehill has a bad series, has a second bad series, the fans are going to turn in 2 seconds. We want Brock. We want Brock. You see it coming. Let Brock play until he's bad. Then you have the fans wanting Tannehill to come back, and there's no controversy. Gase has got to be smart. He's just got to be. I don't know if he will be, but and this might not even be his call at this point. Tannehill was so bad at the end of the Bengals game, so bad that the powers that be above him at this point might even overrule him here. And what you don't like to see the head coach be overruled, but again, Brock Osweiler, 380 yards, 3 touchdowns today. Tannehill hasn't had a game like that in a long time. Okay, so you have to use a little common sense here, and I think you just ride Osweiler out until
I agree to a point. When it comes to Brock Osweiler and the hot hand, if Tannehill's injury, this would be my point. I still believe Tannehill is going to be the starting quarterback regardless of how Brock played today, and he did play pretty good. I believe that if Tannehill's shoulder injury is anything of semi-significance, we know it's not an AC joint. That was 100% disproven today from team sources. It's not an AC joint injury. If it's a sore shoulder, if he has a partially, like a separated shoulder he had from one of the game, maybe the Bengals game last week late, if he had a separated shoulder or whatever, keep him out another game if you have to. Keep him out another game. It's not going to hurt the team in any way, shape, or form. And, Brock Osweiler did play well today. The one thing that I will take away from this, and let's put the quarterbacks aside, that the adversity that this team faces, it seems like every single day, whether it's practice or whether it's a Sunday game, this team faces adversity almost every single day. And kudos to Adam Gase for this. This team has fight, and they will fight to the very last play. Even if they are playing awful, they do not give up. And in this game, when they went down 21-7 in the third quarter, that team stuck together, and Albert Wilson said it great in the postgame, in his postgame press conference in the locker room. The team fought, everybody stuck together, and they played together, and they did not give up on the game, and they found a way to win it today against the Bears. Mike, who do you give the game ball to today?
Well, it's got to go to Albert Wilson. He made all the big plays, 2 big touchdowns. He stepped up. It is Wilson, but I will say this, honorable mention. I'll give an honorable mention. Nick O'Leary is the best tight end on the Dolphins roster right now, and I don't even think it's close. Nick O'Leary, who's only been here less than a month, has already, in my book, pretty much won himself a starting job. Why the Bills let him go, I'll never know. But Albert Wilson gets the game ball, but Nick O'Leary, he's a close second because he made some big plays today and is quickly showing himself to be a legitimate tight end in the NFL. And, he's not probably a true starter, but right now he's the best Miami has. But he's a guy who should be in Miami long term and should be on this team for a few years here, as he's a very good player.
Nick O'Leary did play well today. I don't know if it's just from an immaturity level from Mike Gesicki that he just can't get things going on the Dolphins, but time will tell. Nick O'Leary has come in; he's done a great job. Adam Gase has put enough trust in him, especially on third down. He had a big third down reception on that touchdown drive. On that first touchdown drive, he had a big third down reception, and he played well. So My game ball is going to go to a guy who gets criticized up and down from Mike, myself, media, everybody. Juwan James, as much as he is, he's making $9.3 million this year, and many have said that it's too much money. He made every penny in this game today and stopping Khalil Mack and the Chicago Bears' ferocious pass rush and was able to sustain Khalil Mack. And honestly, at one point, I saw Juwan James pancake Khalil Mack to the ground on a first down run by Kenyon Drake. And kudos to Juwan James. He's going to get my game ball because he isolated the best defensive end, arguably, in the NFL right now. And if we're going to hand out honorable mentions for that game ball, I'm going to give it to Kiko Alonso. That guy's everywhere. I mean, for all the criticism that we gave him last year, playing next to Mike Hull and all these other guys as he was exposed in the passing game because he was really the only Dolphins linebacker. This year, he is just forcing the issue. 2 turnovers, 2 forced fumbles in this game today. He also had 9 tackles, 8 solo, 1 assist, and played a very stout football game. So my honorable mention goes to Kiko Alonso as he continues to lead the Dolphins defense with big plays. Looking ahead, actually, instead of just looking ahead, let's quickly talk about everything that we did today in regards to covering the game. We want to give a big thank you to Scott and the Miami Dolphins for the opportunity to cover the game. But we met a lot of great people. Got to talk to a few people that we do have on the show. And we're appreciative of them and their efforts to promote DolphinsTalk.com. And, I'm looking forward to doing this again and hopefully doing it a couple more times. Mike, what were your thoughts on the weekend that we had?
Yeah, it was fantastic. You see the game in a different perspective. Not often you get invited by the franchise and sit in the press box and watch a game like that. You see it from a different perspective, and you see all the work. When you're on social media or you're just reading articles, you see these reporters and you just sort of read the tweets or you just read the articles. You don't understand the amount of work, research, and time that goes into something like that. As fans, I think sometimes we just take for granted, oh, he just tweeted something out off top of his head. No, they put a lot of thought into this stuff and, long hours, and you're on the move under tight deadlines. So for the guys who get paid to do this full time, you see it from their side more and the amount of work and time they put into their jobs. And they all do very good work. You might not agree with everything that everyone always says, but they do very good work and they take their jobs very seriously. So hats off to them. A lot of nice people we met today. And just overall, very appreciative of the Miami Dolphins to invite us down. And we're planning on doing this many more times in the future. So it was a lot of fun. But, overall, just an amazing game. Just an amazing game. Because that's what it's all about. It's all about the game. We're fans of the team. It's all about the game. We want to see a win. And you got to see a win. And, this game had everything. And that fourth quarter and overtime, I said this online today. You want to know why networks like Fox, CBS, NBC, ESPN pay billions of dollars, billions with a B, billions of dollars for the rights to air these games? Just show them the fourth quarter and the overtime of this game, and that's why. You were glued to your screen, or if you were there in person, glued to your seat. Your eyes couldn't move because this game had everything. Big plays, turnovers, just missed field goals, made field goals, you name it. The final, the fourth quarter and the overtime legitimately had everything. And that's why we all watch these games. That's why we have fun with podcasts like this, for moments like that, games like this. It's a lot of fun. So great time here. Can't wait to get home tomorrow. Hopefully the airlines run smooth and on time, because I really don't feel like running through airports because they can't manage a flight. But we'll see about that. But overall, great weekend, great time, and very appreciative of the organization.
So, as many of you know and listen to our show religiously for the post game show, Mike and I could go for about an hour and a half, just talking about the game and everything else that happened. today's not the day.
I got to catch a flight.
We got to catch a flight first thing in the morning, so we are going to wrap this show up. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for listening. Continue to follow us on Twitter at Dolphins Talk. You can follow myself at TRNC13, as well as check out DolphinsTalk.com every single day for all Miami Dolphins news, as well as opinion articles that are posted from our great staff here at the website, and video. Don't forget the videos. We're going to have some great content up from the weekend, and we are going to be having our daily show come out on Tuesday. Mike is going to enjoy his flight home, and we are going to pick everything back up on Tuesday. But again, thank you all for listening. Again, the Miami Dolphins wrap up a huge win at home, 31-28 in overtime with no time to spare to move the record to 4-2. And the reason we're going to cut this show short is because we could talk about them being 5-1 right now, except the fact they blew the game against the Bengals. But anyway, that's a story for another day. But again, thank you again for listening, and we will talk to you again real soon. Fins up. Let's go.